Welcome to a special edition of KOCT Today. I'm Amy Forsythe, and in studio with me are some of my favorite people. Before I introduce our special guests, I want to say thank you for watching KOCT on TV or streaming from the website at koct.org or wherever you watch our programming. Our special segment of KOCT Today is brought to you by the Stephen A. Cohen Military Family Clinic at Veterans Village of San Diego, which is located right here in Oceanside. And now it's my distinct honor to welcome today's guests. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us in studio.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. It's wonderful. Kirsten White, can you please share your background with us and for our viewers?
Sure. So I'm a licensed professional clinical counselor, and I'm the clinic director for the Cohen Clinic at VVSD right here in Oceanside. And I have worked in the military space for about 10 years. I used to work for a nonprofit organization for the military space, and I also have been part of VVSD and just stayed with VVSD as we created these clinics.
Wonderful. Can you share your background?
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm Sherry Finney, and I'm the regional director for the Cohen Clinics at VVSD at Veterans Village of San Diego. I'm also a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I have worked in nonprofit for over 25 years, and I've been in the military space for about 10 years as well, and I grew up in a military family just like Kirsten.
Yes.
And these ladies couldn't be more empathetic and compassionate, and really our goal today is to talk about the work that you do here in Oceanside and how your work impacts our veterans. And myself as a veteran, there is nothing more important than getting the help that we need sometimes and what your team has brought to the Oceanside community. And for those who don't know, we're located right outside the gates of Camp Pendleton.
Yes, very
where
close.
There's 45,000 Marines and their families that are stationed there. And so before we talk more about the services you provide, let's talk a little bit about the Cohen brand and the name and the work that they're doing. Can you describe some of the origin story of that organization?
Absolutely. So Stephen A. Cohen is our founder, and he has a son who served in the military, who witnessed a lot of the challenges that our military community and their family members were facing. And he sat down with his dad and had a real conversation about those issues and the need to address those issues. So Mr. Cohen made a $275 million commitment to create these clinics across the nation to make a real impact in the lives of our military community.
And why this is important, some photos we're looking at now, is when the Oceanside Clinic opened back in 2022, and it was a wonderful opening ceremony and bringing together so many great, caring people. Can you describe the process of how you came to open up that clinic in Oceanside?
So that clinic, opening that clinic was a great joy, and the community was so welcoming. It was actually pretty easy. It just happened naturally, almost organically, like it was meant to be there. You can see there we had so many people there. We had Colonel Whitley, who was a longtime supporter. We had Medal of Honor recipient Ryan Pitts, there he is. He was just a great spokesperson, not only for Cohen veterans, but for mental health in general. And you see there Akila Templeton, the CEO of VVSD, came, and Anthony Assad, the CEO of CVN. So it was just an amazing day. But it showed how much the community supported the clinic, and it started our relationships, which is how I met you, Amy. So you were there as well. And so it just was so easy. I don't remember any hard, like I've opened other clinics that were harder. This one was just, people came and were welcoming, and it just felt like we were meant to be there.
For more than 80 years, the Oceanside and North County community has just been second to none in supporting, especially the Marines and sailors at Camp Pendleton. But let's talk about what really the services that you provide. And this gets to the heart of really overall health and mental wellness for our service members and the dedicated team and staff at your clinics or the clinic in Oceanside. Can you describe really, your tenets for your commitment and your vision and your mission statement at that clinic?
Sure. So, our mission is to provide high quality, accessible mental health care to post 9/11 veterans, active duty service members, National Guard, reserves, and all of their family members. So, this includes spouses, partners, children, parents, siblings. It's really who the veteran or the service member wants to define as their family member. And this is regardless of time in service, role in service, discharge status. It's really unique that we offer that. And we'll do this through individual therapy, couples therapy, family therapy, and group therapy. And in addition to that, our clients also have access to a psychiatrist on staff while they're in care and a case manager. So any client who's looking for any additional resources, our case manager will do the work to find those resources, vet them, and then provide a warm handoff to our client so that we take one more stressor off of the client to have to worry about taking care of something for themselves and just focus more on that mental health treatment. And we'll do this. Our care will look like client-centered care, it's targeted-based treatment, and it's evidence-based.
Well, so as a veteran myself, there's been some major barriers and blockers to getting mental health care through the years. And now there's been a real shift in terms of saying it's okay to get care. And here we have the services provided. What are some obstacles that a service member or a veteran might encounter with trying to access care that you've heard or you're trying to solve?
So, breaking down barriers to care is really our primary focus. And it's exactly what you talked about. There are obstacles that can get in the way. And when someone finally takes that step to reach out and ask for help, we don't want them to ever feel like it's difficult to do so or that they have to wait long. So, one of the barriers that we see is payment. We accept TRICARE, TriWest, other major insurances. But the bottom line for us is cost will never be a barrier to care. Another common barrier is transportation. So we offer telehealth services for all of our clients, which is really great. We do it. You can have all of your sessions be telehealth, some be in person or hybrid, whatever's more convenient. And something that's really cool about that is if a client had an in-person but couldn't make it or couldn't find a ride or whatever it was, they could call the clinic and say, "Can I switch to telehealth?" And we'll do that no problem, and they don't have to miss their session. We also will pay for a service to come pick a client up to bring to the clinic if they really only want in-person services, and then we'll pay for the service to bring them back home. And I think one of the really big barriers that's really great that we offer to try to break it down is childcare. A really big challenge for parents is that they can't find or can't afford or both good childcare to watch their children so they can commit to care or even start the process to do it. We'll pay for childcare to come to the clinic and watch your children while you're in session, just 2 doors down from when you're in therapy, which takes away the need to coordinate the care, pay for the care, and adds that ease of knowing that your child is only a couple doors down. And if they need you, we'll just knock on the door, send a message to the clinician.
Well, ladies, really getting at the heart of before someone picks up the phone to call, what are some of the things that veterans or military members could be going through that they would say, I might need some help? What are the things that you are seeing for reasons why people would reach out? For anyone at home thinking, is this for me? Am I at a point where I need to pick up the phone and call?
I think if you're thinking about it, you should pick up the phone and call, even though I personally know that's one of the hardest steps anyone can take. And it feels overwhelming. But our clinic staff, Mia, Kirsten, and Anna, the girls at the front desk, I would call them. They're so kind and they'll guide you through the whole process. But I think we're seeing a lot of family problems, a lot of child behavioral issues, a lot of depression and anxiety. And I think we saw a spike in anxiety just in the last couple of months.
Grief and loss, anger management, relationship skills, transitional issues. So if someone's transitioning because they're just moving here or transitioning a role in the military or transitioning to civilian life. So there's really a wide spread of things that we can address in our clinic.
And so when people are thinking, should I look at getting help, when they go to look at a directory of places, there really aren't other resources for members to get help either on base, and because that there's a stigma or a fear of getting reported to their chain of command. But why would the Cohen clinics be sort of that solution? Is because they don't need to wear a uniform. There's no reporting, some sort of privacy element there.
So care is confidential and we are off base. We're close to it, but we are off base. We have our own electronic health record system for anyone who's coming into care. There is that comfort of confidentiality. As well as though to note that for active duty service members, the only thing that we would ask for them if they're coming for individual care is that they get a referral from their primary care manager or their MTF. And once we have that referral, then we can move on.
And how has been the referral process working with the Camp Pendleton Naval Hospital or the military medical teams to know about your services? I guess that's part of the challenge, is letting people know and being a source, a trusted agent for a referral.
We're very fortunate to have a good relationship with a lot of the folks on Camp Pendleton. And so we do have a really great referral source from a lot of different places there for Naval Hospital Camp Pendleton or the Camp Pendleton Counseling Center. We're constantly looking for more connections to meet with. We were meeting with the MFLAGs throughout Naval or throughout Camp Pendleton. But Camp Pendleton's very big. And so I'm sure there's a lot of people that we don't know. And we're hoping that, interviews like this help spread the word so that people can hear about us and reach out. And like Sherry said, if you're thinking about asking for help, call. I mean, our team is really just here to make it easy, answer the phone, and answer any questions that you have. And if somebody needs to speak to a clinician right away, even if they're just calling to start the service, we'll find someone to talk with them, check in, and help them navigate what care would look like for them and what they're ready for.
Let's talk a little bit about the life cycle of care. Now, an emergency situation, you would say call 911, right?
Correct.
So where do you fall in the spectrum of, an emergency care all the way up through completing a cycle of therapy sessions?
So there's no wrong door, and we'll do warm handoffs, but we target mild to moderate behavioral and mental health issues. So, if you need case management, we'll do that, and then Kirsten can talk a little bit about the kind of what we transfer to.
Sure. So anyone who reaches out to us will connect with our front desk team. They'll get some information and we'll actually book what we call an intake assessment within that day or within 1 to 2 business days. So it's a quick appointment to meet with our intake coordinator. From there, our intake coordinator is going to get to know the client a little bit more. And there's a set of mental health screener sets that we're going to ask to really get a better idea of the client. And in that situation is where we're going to be able to screen if somebody is a little bit more high risk. And if they are high risk, depending on that risk level, we'll either expedite their session so that a clinician will actually meet with them that day if they're available to, or reach out and connect to an outside service through our case manager and the rest of our team to get them the care that they need to make sure that they're safe and well. Outside of that, once that client or that referral were to finish that intake assessment, they can be scheduled for what we call a biopsychosocial assessment. Really long word, but we'll schedule that within 1 to 2 weeks. And that's the kickoff for therapy. From there, it's weekly therapy and for about 3 to 4 months.
Okay, wonderful. You've seen a map here, folks, of different locations. There's more of what we call a fleet concentration area or a military concentration area throughout the country. So if someone is watching across the country but they feel like they could use help, where would they go to find where they might be able to find a clinic?
So easiest thing is you can just look up Cohen Veterans Network.org or just Google it and you'll find a map. You'll find the map and it'll say find your care, and you can just look up the clinic near where you are. And in addition to that, you can contact a clinic in the state nearest you, because there might be clinicians we have licensed in your state. So we could do telehealth almost anywhere now.
Our goal is to help people to get back to better. We want their relationships to improve. We want their lives to get better, their jobs. The things that are meaningful to them are meaningful to us. Cohen Veterans Network therapy is based in scientific research and best practice. So each of our clinicians are trained in evidence-based practice. Our therapy focuses on ensuring that the unique factors, experiences, and background of that person are brought into therapy. And when people are feeling really bad, they feel alone and they feel as though no one else has been through this before. And we know how to help them understand that no matter what you're going through, how unique the circumstances, and although you may feel very alone, we can be with you in that and help people to get better.
For the folks just joining us at home, we are joined in studio with Kirsten White and Sherry Finney working at the Cohen Military Family Clinic right here in Oceanside. We're talking about care, mental health, how to get services for the veterans out there who maybe not on active duty anymore, who don't have TRICARE, don't have access to that VA. Maybe they have VA, maybe they don't. Are you servicing them as well?
Yes, so we focus on the post 9/11 era, and we do a great relationship with VA as well in the way that we stack hands with them, and they'll send us referrals if it's fit for the client as well. So we do see those clients, and again, back to the barriers of care, cost is never a barrier to care.
And what's the percentage, would you say, you're seeing active duty to veteran services?
So that's different at each clinic.
I see.
And they have the higher concentration with about 40% active duty and 60% families and veterans.
Okay. And in addition to the counseling sessions that can take someone from, a crisis moment to fully being comfortable to maybe stop the sessions, tell us about the life cycle and how someone would, work their way through sort of the conclusion of a relationship with the clinic.
So an episode of care is typically about 3 to 4 months. And so when someone discharges, they essentially have met their treatment goal. And at that point, when someone discharges, like let's say I discharge today, if in 1 month from now or 6 months from now or sometime after, something bubbles up and I just need a little bit of help, I can actually call the clinic and say, I used to be a client there. I'd like to schedule what we call a booster session. And so we'll schedule that appointment and they would show up to their session just like they would when they were in care, meet with the clinician, talk about the issue that has come up and work through it. And some people only need 1 booster, some people need 2 or 3, and then they're good and they stop and move on their way. And then sometimes in that booster session, they might have a conversation with the clinician about, I think I might need to re-enroll for care. Can I do that? And they absolutely can. And at that point, we would have them go back to the process of getting back into care and start weekly therapy sessions again. And so people come through working on different things throughout their life, and that's totally okay.
And this also includes spouses and children, is that right?
Yes.
Partners of any kind. So
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I love is that the veteran defines who the family is. So it can be stepdaughter, it can be brother. We've seen a lot of different combinations over the years.
Wonderful. And oftentimes with veterans or military members, what could be triggering or troubling for them is not anything really related to being in the military. It's other financial or health concerns or parents or things that are outside that could impact their readiness and overall ability to serve or thrive in life. Are you seeing some of that happen as well? All the things outside of the military?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you
definitely.
describe that and how to help determine if someone is ready for the care?
You absolutely covered it. I mean,
Yeah.
It might not be that someone can walk through the door and says, I have a very specific military-specific event that's happened. People are coming to us for grief of a family member or for just stress and managing all of life's things and taking care of it. It's really, or financial stress. It's all of those things, and we absolutely can use our clinicians who are very highly trained in evidence-based modalities to target those things and to make sure we're helping the client. And then going back to that case management piece too, if someone is coming in with stress and one of those stressors is financial hardship, our case manager helps them find what financial resources are out there for them and helps connect them to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're seeing some wonderful, beautiful photos of your clinic that's located in Oceanside. And besides the therapy sessions, the Cohen Clinic also hosts many family events. Can you describe some of those?
Yes. So the photo you're actually looking at right now is We Heart Our Mill. This is an event that we hosted when we first opened. And so we actually took up 2 parking lots outside of our building and did like a drive-through for all of our military families. We had about over 25 partner organizations that popped up tents, and they would drive through and get resources from all these organizations and some freebies and get to talk to them about what they offer for that community. And then we also offered things as well. So that was a wonderful event. And we do a lot of similar things like that. Every year we host a backpack giveaway. We've done it twice now. We're doing it again this summer. We host family events for the holidays. We've had like a bubble house in our parking lot for children, and we had visits from Santa. We did crafts. We also do family game nights, paint nights. We host yoga. Right now we have a trauma-conscious yoga class running every Tuesday. We offer Tai Chi. We have a community room that is really meant for the community. So any outside agency can essentially request to use the space, and there's no cost to it, and they can host an event. Like we've had Navy Federal host financial seminars for our clients and for anyone else who wanted to come. We can also partner with them to host something, or we can host something ourselves. And all of the events that we do are free. There's no cost to it, and we'll never charge someone to participate or collaborate.
And ladies, your location here in Oceanside is in Rancho del Oro, right in between Oceanside Boulevard and Mesa Drive. So it's very centrally located. And these resources are available for folks and people looking to learn more. Where can they go to find more information?
You can find us online. You can find us online with a Google search. You can follow us on social media where you can see when we post about the events that we're hosting. You can email us, you can call us, and you can walk through the doors. But we'll take walk-ins, absolutely.
And people will find you there. Smiling faces,
Yes.
a warm welcome. And you mentioned the term stacked hands. And for people who know what that means, or maybe can you describe the partners that you've built and the resources that are available through contacting you and being a part of it?
Sure. So the stacking hands really is just that showing that we collaborate with other agencies in a mutual way. We are not trying to compete. We're just here to offer our services the best way that we can and collaborate with other agencies so that they know that we're here, and then we can refer them, our clients, to them as well when it makes sense to. And there's a lot of different relationships that we have. We've mentioned the VA, we mentioned Naval Hospital Camp Pendleton and the Camp Pendleton Counseling Center, Blue Star Families, Navy Federal, Front Wave. There's a lot of different agencies that we have worked with and are looking to work with.
And the tie-in to the Veterans Village of San Diego, which has been such a long-standing nonprofit here in San Diego, how is that relationship built, and how do you work with them?
So CVM partners with different agencies in every state. And in California, they've partnered with Veterans Village of San Diego, which, as you know, is sort of started as a grassroots in the 80s, helping Vietnam veterans come back. And it's grown and changed and morphed and has so many different iterations. But right now, it's kind of completed its continuum of care with the clinics, because with the mental health help, we can see them before they enter residential treatment, and we can be at the end of the continuum to help them after they go. So the other thing is that I think we describe it as sometimes like CVN is a Starbucks inside of a Target. So that's kind of how the partnership works, where they're more than just a funder, but it's just a beautiful match between the community organization and CVN.
And they do so many bigger things. And then your niche is really, focused here in Oceanside.
Yes.
But there are other clinics throughout the country.
And throughout California. So VVSD has one in San Diego, which was the first one, opened in 2019 before the pandemic. And then we opened up Torrance, which is LA, after Oceanside.
Wonderful. And there's a map, and we can find other locations if you end up moving or get care in Oceanside and then you get relocated.
Or you can just call Oceanside, and their sister clinics, they'll refer to each other. They'll help you.
Wonderful. And you recently opened one in Los Angeles as well.
Correct.
So people who live in the LA area can obtain care. And so look at, we see here, this is wonderful. This was on opening day in 2022. And since then, the partnership has grown. And where would you like it to go in the future? What will be your your goals for this coming year, 2025 and beyond?
We would just love to see that everyone who wants, thinks, dreams about getting care gets it. And so what that might look like numbers wise would be an increase in that, would be an increase in both patient care and clinician care, like clinicians coming in and staff. Specifically, I think you have other goals of members?
When we opened in Oceanside, it was very clear that there was this very strong community feel to this area. And so my dream for our clinic is to just really become embedded in this community and be who people think of when they think of accessing mental health care. So I'd love for people to come to us for help so that we can do what we do best. And then also to be a staple in the community in the sense of the events that we offer. I would love people coming to the big things that we have as well as the workshops that we have, and just kind of advocating for mental health and reducing the stigma that can come with it, and just serving the community.
And then we're looking at pictures of your clinic there. It's designed in a very specific way to match the environment. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So every Cohen clinic across the nation kind of fits the theme of the area. And so for California, it's very coastal. So you see a lot of coastal pictures on the walls. But at the heart of it all, every clinic is also designed to just make sure it's comfortable and warm and welcoming. Again, with someone who's taking the step of reaching out for help, we just want to make it as easy as possible. And sometimes walking into an environment that just feels like you're walking into a friend's home where it's comfortable makes it just a little bit easier. There's comfortable couches, there's blankets, there's pillows. It just feels inviting.
It does, yes.
And I feel like as a woman veteran, you would know, I feel like we've made it so women are comfortable. In fact, 50% of our clients are female or identify as female. They don't, not necessarily all veterans, but family members or, whatever. So we've been very successful with that. And I think part of that is the environment. I mean, there's plants, there's soothing pictures. It literally doesn't look like you're walking into a doctor's office or that there's any sense of shame for being there.
And what I love about being there too, I noticed that the pictures on the wall, they're beautiful images of the beach and sunsets, but they were all taken by a Coast Guard veteran. And so he's a wonderful photographer. And so thank you for including the detailed planning down to even the images on the wall is centered around veterans. When you speak about the base, and here we are at Camp Pendleton, adjacent to Camp Pendleton, and then the high turnover with personnel coming in and moving out and reintroducing the Cohen Veteran Network to every new commanding officer, every new senior enlisted leader in order to make, informed decisions about possible care. How's that challenge been for you so far?
It's exactly how you described it.
You just did it. It's been challenging.
Yes.
It's just that. It's making a connection with someone and building that trust. And so when you build that trust, you make that connection, and now we become a strong name to that person, and then they are PCS and they relocate. Then we have to find who that new person is and kind of start all over again, which is absolutely something we're willing to do and something that we have done and will continue to do. But it is a bit of a challenge. And our hope is that by really embedding ourselves in the community, that one of our highest referral sources is word of mouth. And so the clients are liking what they're receiving when they come to us, and they're telling other people about it. And we're still young. And so with a few more years down the road, we're hoping that just continues. And the challenge of reestablishing ourselves with new people is a little bit less hard or difficult because our name is so well known.
Well, wonderful. Well, before we wrap things up, anything else you'd like to add about services or what people at home might want to know before they pick up the phone?
I think it's really special that our focus and our commitment is to break down those barriers to care. We really just want to make it easy for somebody to reach out. It's pretty special to say that cost is never a barrier, or that we'll pay for transportation to come pick somebody up or pay for childcare. Our clinicians are very well trained. They're regularly trained throughout the year on more evidence-based practices and military culture competency. And so we all know that there's a stigma that can be attached to reaching out for mental health care. And so we're aware of that, and we just hope that anybody who's looking or thinking about asking, we are here to just help make that step as easy as possible, so when you do move forward with that, you feel like it's simple and that you're getting what you need. And care starts the moment that you call us. Our team is trained and warm and empathetic, that the moment you call us, we are going to make you feel like you're taken care of.
And I guess I would just add that if anyone's watching or hearing this, then there is help. It may take a lot. You may have to work really hard, but there are treatments that work, and you're not alone. Like, take that first step, because I know that, A lot of people are feeling anxious or hopeless or depressed or overwhelmed or whatever word you put on it. And you don't have to suffer alone anymore. Like just to call, that would be, or email, whatever your mode of communication is that you find easiest, or even have a friend help you.
Mhm.
Wonderful message. Thank you, ladies, so much for trusting KOCT to come into the studio and share the wonderful, caring services that are right here in Oceanside. So thank you so much.
Thank you for
so much
having
for
us.
having us.
Yeah,
it's
thank
a
you.
pleasure.
My honor. Our special segment of KOCT Today is brought to you by the Stephen A. Cohen Military Family Clinic at Veterans Village of San Diego, which is located right here in Oceanside. So thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.